Hey guys, yesterday was foam rolling when I did episode 9, and I do a lot of that on the quads and the bigger muscle groups, obviously. But one thing that I don't talk about too often, and I guess you have to take my word on it if you're just looking here on YouTube, but on Modus, on my blogging, I've discussed in the past quite a bit about things like this guy. A very dirty and, well, it's not really dirty, but it's got a little bit of a patina on it, I guess, over these years, and dog bite marks actually from a chew toy. But this is a lacrosse ball. They cost $2, $3 at any big sporting goods store, and this is something I use on the calves and sometimes other places, but for the most part, really on the lower legs. And you don't see these too often, but the reason we use them is that with a big foam roller, that one back there, I can't really get into the muscle and get that fidelity that I want on certain muscle groups like your calves. And calves have a tendency to get really, really tight for a lot of us that weightlift, and especially runners and people that do a lot of repetitive motion, especially and cyclists too. But we don't really, for some athletes, you kind of want a little bit of springy hypertonicity. And that's kind of a fine line to say that, but some people kind of want the right tonicity in their muscles. But for people like me, I notice after I lift a lot of, if I have a couple heavy squat weeks or really put a lot of time and effort into leg day, that my calves will get pretty damn tight. And so that's where this comes in. To give you a little bit of an idea here, really practically speaking, about 5 days a week, I am spending maybe 5 minutes on each leg with this lacrosse ball. And it doesn't feel too good, but over time it does get better. It's like a lot of foam rolling and self-myofascial release. It does make an improvement. And I think if you do this a lot, you'll kind of notice that over time you can figure out and kind of get a feel for when things start to feel a little tighter in your own body and how you can kind of mitigate that. For me, it's very subtle, but I definitely know, especially when I do a little bit of downward dog, you can kind of feel when things get tighter. And so this guy, if you don't have one, I really recommend going out and getting a lacrosse ball. And if it's too hard to begin with, you can consider using a tennis ball. But ultimately, I think you'll probably find that to get the fidelity and the level of hardness and rigidity, you need to go kind of with a really rough lacrosse ball. So give it a try, let me know what you guys think, and this is all kind of me trying to give you a little more insight behind what I'm actually doing on a daily and a weekly basis to maintain my own body and the reasons behind it. Hope that helps.